Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit more in depth about the actual patch note. On my main channel, I already did a Dragon Bride Senya showcase review of the kit. However, although I did touch on the 1 minute summary, there was a new patch note or a more official patch note that they announced, including things like the Ancient Inheritance and what is coming to it. If you guys aren't already familiar with this, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because on my alt channel, I get to go a little bit more in depth on things that I think are cool about epicseven, or go in bit more in depth for videos that I don't think I had enough time to discuss on my main. However, when it comes to Ancient Inheritance Season 9, I was expecting them to maybe do a couple more changes than I've already kind of perused through and seen. There hasn't been too much added outside of what I can tell is this specific Spirit Sanctum, which is a new Zone 2 and 3 object that you can now activate. It gives you EXP for a specific element, which is nice, and there is no limit to the number of uses, but it does consume provisions, so there is some sort of give and take to it. That being said, though, I haven't seen any, I haven't seen any super big change to something like I guess like the barricades or the annoying kind of aspects the Ancient Inheritance previously had. I do want to go into the rewards because I think that the rewards are very crazy. First and foremost, as you can tell, there is the new set of Ancient Inheritance gear, all of which looks very DPS and or utility opener focused. You have the sword, which looks great for pretty much any pen DPS that you want, outside of literally just Zahak, I guess. Assuming that you miss, the health. The neck is pretty good. It's a torrent neck. It has pretty much the perfect subs for anyone outside of, I guess, maybe Gala as well, because you have the crit chance, but if you roll into attack, defense, and speed, maybe it's fine. The chest and the boot are both opener oriented. It's got effectiveness, it's got speed, it's on hit set, which is kind of nice if you aren't quite at that point where you can build someone or one of the openers quite yet, and you need something like effectiveness. Alternatively, the boot could be good for debuffers, akin to someone like maybe Deathly Ray, maybe even someone like I guess a Summertime Iseria or a Bihu, who knows. The ring, also pretty decent. I will say that there's a shocking lack of crit damage, which does feel a little bit unfortunate because this is a bit reminiscent of how, if you are familiar with characters like, or if you are familiar with the Abyss Lifesteal set, that set also misses crit damage, which makes it less technically ideal compared to some of the other sets. That being said, it does look like the pen set that they have right now and some of the sets that they're showing through the torrent and all these things are supposed to be a bit more flexible in case if you want to run them on multifaceted characters. It seems like in some cases you could suggest that if you want to run like the torrent neck on someone like a Lionheart Sirmia, maybe you could roll out the attack. Same thing can be said about the pen. Maybe you have this on someone like an Ed. Maybe you don't need the attack. Maybe you end up swapping out the attack for crit damage and you stay with the HP. That being said, though, I do think all the pieces of gear are really nice. They all have 42 or 41, depending on what you're looking at. And ultimately, I'm very happy with this set of rewards. I think that if you are someone that is trying to build up your epicseven account, something that you may be lacking on is specifically usable right side gear, especially if you're looking for DPS. And they, of course, gave you torrent here. So you could almost even argue that right now, because I believe the crafting event should still be going on, or you can still be crafting or changing your crafted stuff. If you want to now see these new Ancient Inheritance gear, you can now create a torrent piece to compensate or to pair with, of course, this necklace here, if you don't want to end up using the helmet. And if you want, you could also end up pairing a pen set to compensate and pair up with this ring. But alternatively, now that we've seen this, if you are someone that is crafting pen and or torrent and you only wanted one set, now you could swap off of this, or maybe it's too late for you, rest in peace if that's the case. But now we're being given a proper set of offset or two-piece gear, which is really nice, and this is all going to be quote-unquote free from the Ancient Inheritance. But something that I do want to mention, despite having these cool additions to the rewards shop or whatever you get from Ancient Inheritance, whether that's from beating the boss, etc., is that from what I can tell right now from the reward shop, there is no infinite exchange for artifact charms in the shop. Now, if you guys are familiar with the last Ancient Inheritance or past previous Ancient Inheritances, the most recent one didn't end up having the 100 currency exchange, infinite consumable exchange of artifact charms for 100 of these little ball currencies here, which was a really big deal, actually, because a lot of people were using Ancient Inheritance to upgrade their artifacts. They had a lot of artifact charms, which are really nice. However, as you can tell here, at least from what I can see from the screenshot, it doesn't appear to be here. It could be below. Who knows? Maybe we're just missing it. But I hope that is something that they're adding or changing, because that's a really big deal. It was kind of a stealth nerf that they never addressed, and there's no reason to get rid of it, because what, are we just mad at people for having more artifact charms? It's not even like people are really buying the artifact charm pack, to be honest. But moving along, we also have, again, the drop rate up banners, and also the addition of a new feature, which is that now you can buy old frames that were either on the Epic Pass or event rewards. Now, again, I don't have to really sell you on this, but personally, I'm a huge fan of the fact that as a collector myself, I can now buy old frames that I didn't have access to. One of the frames that I've been super longing to get for a long time was this heart frame. And I was just literally not playing during this time in epicseven, and I don't think this is something that people are really talking about. Of course, it's because Dragon Bride Senya is out, and she's really cool. But I am also a really big fan of course, having more access to vanity things. epicseven has recently released the profile banner for reaching a certain rank at the end of the season, and that is now plastered onto your RTA permanently, depending on, of course, what rank you ended. But even for that, I am a big fan of the fact that they decided to change that and add this to the game, because it's all more vanity. But two issues I had with that, and I know this is separate from the frame, but I felt like it was important to talk about because we're talking about vanity. It's that the profile frame, actually, if you take a look at it in game, looks really, I don't want to say it looks scuffed, but it looks like it isn't super well in tune, or I guess like thought out, because as you can see on the topic of vanity, this frame barely seems visible. Now, obviously, the allure of like the profile card may take your attention away from the profile frame, but this doesn't even look like it fits on the frame. Like, you could almost barely tell that I had a frame on, especially if you look at the bottom of this. It doesn't even look like there's something at the bottom of here. And if you compare it to, again, something like your actual character profile frame, where it's very prominent and very pronounced, this profile frame is almost not even there. And it actually just looks ugly, actually, because now my Makima just has like spikes coming out of the top of her head. Like, what is that? That makes absolutely no sense. In any case, though, I do want to mention that although I don't like the way that it looks right now, the fact that they're adding more vanity things, and they're continuing to add vanity things, which, of course, or give access to vanity things as they're showing by this additional shop here, is really cool. I like it. I like the direction that they're going down. And, of course, now that I've been sitting here and I've had a little bit to talk about and kind of think about my my initial thoughts about the patch, I think the balance changes are huge. I think I haven't quite talked about it more on stream, but I think that I'm probably going to be trying a speed set Blood Moon Haste, because I think that running him counter is nice, but outside of the first counter, I don't know how many strips I'm going to need. Like, the first initial heal might be nice, but I'm curious if just being faster and having something like Celestine or having some heal, I don't know, whatever the case is, could be nice. However, I also think that Ravi might actually be a little bit overhyped right now. I do think she's going to be good, but something that I think a lot of people neglected to remember or to mention here is that they removed her stun, her stun and the pushback by 100%, and the defense pen on her skill 3. Now, again, I know that she is gaining injury and doesn't need any crit now in exchange, but 50% defense pen on skill 3, that is a lot of defense that you're penetrating. I don't think any amount of, additional stat that you're being given, or even the addition of injury, can compensate for the fact that her skill 3 almost felt like you were dropping a house on someone when you were using skill 3 in the past. And now another thing that I think is kind of unfortunate is that you don't actually, if I'm not mistaken, gain any fighting spirit from being hit which is kind of annoying. And that means that basically now you are forced to either counter with your S1 to get the amount of fighting spirit to use your skill 3, or you need to take the turn in S1, which is an even worse fate, because that means that you need to start, being really fast on counter, and you can't, originally do what people were thinking of, which is running her maybe in like the 150 to 180 speed range, and get her S3 off as soon as someone AoEs you. In any case, though, guys, I think that now that the dust is settled, the balance patch looks interesting, and of course, I guess exciting enough for me to be building a lot of the characters. However, I do want to mention about Bride Senya, because there's been a little bit of time now that it's kind of settled. Based on things that were seen in the showcase, I do think that the showcase was fair, because of course they were 37,000 HP, which is a little bit higher than usual. But based on the statistics that I've seen, or based on the preliminary build that I have for my Senya, let me post it real quick. I do have my Senya at about, where is it? Here it is. I do have my preliminary Senya looking like this, which is about 170 speed and 37,000 HP. This is before she receives the buff, of course, the 10% increase. So it's going to be around roughly 38, maybe 39,000 HP. I also think that it's really interesting to note that the showcase Senya didn't use 3F. And based on my numbers here, I do think that you're actually going to be able to run something like a 35,000 plus HP Senya at 200 speed if you have good gear. My gear here right now is by no means insane. And just based off of this, I do think that if you have 3F, you're going to be doing something upwards of 15,000 HP after Soul Burn at the very minimum. If you have around like the 32 to like 35,000 HP range, which again I think is going to be really good. But a big glaring flaw, I think, of the character, which, could be a little bit intimidating, and I don't think a lot of people have noticed this or mentioned this as well, is that you only get the AoE and you only get the fixed damage based on whether or not you get activate or your back row character gets activated. So now, to be clear, I do think that you can just put a must activate character in the back line, aka someone like Navy Captain Landy or someone like Abyssal Yufine, depending on what the team composition is, maybe even Cannaaaa. However, if you do end up killing or having a team composition that can be one shot, and then you just leave the Senya or the backline character for last, that's just it. They're done. And to be honest with you, with the way that right now people are playing characters like Cannaaaa, a lot of people right now are finding that one of the most effective ways to deal with Cannaaaa is to just one-shot everyone and then deal with Cannaaaa at the end of the game, because he's not doing anything, right? The S3 is not super impactful, and unless if Cannaaaa specifically has a rage buff from ML Politis early, if you just sleep the whole team, you kill everyone, and then Cannaaaa is the last one alive, well, then that's how you beat him. In any case, though, guys, that was kind of my impression of the patch. I wanted to go a little bit more in depth here on the second channel because I think there was a little bit more to break down. I think Dragon Bride Senya looks cool. I'm going to be doing the Brigitte showcase or kind of review in an hour, so stay tuned for that. But thanks again for watching, everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to like, comment, turn on the notification bell, and subscribe. Thanks again for watching. Thanks for all the love on the recent videos for the second channel. I appreciate it. If there's any content you want me to cover, by all means, feel free to let me know. I am going to be covering more people talk, gacha stuff, more in-depth, like ask Kana kind of questions on the second channel. So again, feel free to do so. Thanks again for watching. Hope you guys all enjoyed. I'll see you on the next one. Make sure to check out the rest of my socials. Good night.